apparently getting your throat slit is a change in career. Welcome to Rising Anxieties. This is where we unpack what the animal ag industry is worried about and what we're worried about. And we're really worried, really a lot, about a lot of things, that's for sure. But, the onslaught of animal agriculture is definitely one of the top, still on the top of my list. Because, if we went back to the best years of the past 10 years, they wouldn't be close to good enough because it wouldn't do anything about what the animals are going through. Okay, I'll stop perseverating. Chef quits over vegan menu at Prince William's Earthshot Prize ceremony. This is pathetic. This is in Rio de Janeiro. So there's this prize that apparently is given by Prince William of the UK, and it's very sustainability oriented. And because the presentation is taking place in Brazil this year, they arranged with this Brazilian chef, Saulo Jennings, and he has a restaurant there apparently, to provide the food, which is pretty cool. It's sustainability oriented, so they decided to provide an all vegan meal. And it does beg the question of if you care about sustainability, why wouldn't you always eat an all vegan meal? But whatever. I go on and on. So he said he could not do that. You know, I just feel like a lot of chefs, is this the reason why you go into in a restaurant that serves meat and that, likes to think of itself as fancy pants? Like if they have one vegan thing, it's terrible. It's like they're bad chefs. They just have no imagination. I mean, we're just talking about cooking vegetables. This is not like a new concept in the world. But he said asking him to prepare a meat-free menu was like asking Iron Maiden to play jazz, which would, I think, be an interesting adventure. Like, what's wrong with that? And that it demonstrated a lack of respect for Brazil's culinary tradition, because apparently the only thing you eat in Brazil is meat, which is clearly not true. So, he did design a vegan menu ultimately. I will give him that, but he was charging so much for it they couldn't afford it, so they went with somebody else. And then he got a little nervous. He said, "I'm worried that the vegan community thinks I criticize it. It's not. I only defend my roots." Obviously, not his root vegetables. So, a joke I put in there. So they hired this person, Tati Lund, who is the owner of Org Bistro, which is in Rio de Janeiro. So apparently there are some people who eat something other than meat in Rio de Janeiro. Her restaurant is all vegan, but they haven't posted the menu yet, but she prioritizes local, organic, and seasonal ingredients to connect you with nature. So, I'm sure it'll be delicious. At least they hired somebody who knows what they're doing. Like, why did they start with that guy? Why didn't they hire somebody who's good at cooking vegan food instead of somebody who thinks that, like, I feel like they think that it'll automatically be bad, so they just make it bad, or they want it to be bad. These meat eating chefs. It says in here that according to Brazil's Vegetarian Society, approximately 14% of people nationwide now consider themselves vegetarian or vegan, which seems pretty high to me, I have to say, but let's hope it's true. But it's certainly not, as that guy seems to think, zero. Oh, these people, they just drive you crazy. All right. This is from whatpoultry.com. This is by Terrence O'Keefe. Oh, that first article was from our friends at Plant-Based News. And according to this article, the title of this article is U.S. Poultry Industry Shares Priorities with Researchers. And I think there's two interesting things about this article. One is that this is about a meeting that was held at the Poultry Science Association annual meeting. And apparently it's just mostly researchers who I assume are, work in university, they have these huge facilities in universities investigating agriculture. And I'm sure that the industry donates some of the money to them. Probably their money is coming from other sources as well. But apparently what they are, they just work for the industry. So they have this meeting where the industry tells them what they want researched. So I think that's interesting. But the other interesting thing is that the two things that the industries really want researched is disease management and food safety. And, it is becoming obvious that they have a bigger problem than they used to in with disease. I know it's been obvious to you for a while, but it's becoming obvious to them as well. And the disease challenges U.S. poultry producers face should be the top research priority, agreed all of these different people, particularly in the poultry industry, because this is a poultry site. And they're focused mainly on avian influenza, of course, which is, it never really left, and it's totally back, and it's totally devastating things. It just, it's not getting the kind of press it did. Not that it got that much press before, but it's not getting nearly as much press as it even did then. And they point out that they're really trying, well, at least in some places. I bet this varies a lot from facility to facility. But infections continue even in facilities with stringent biosecurity. So even in places where they're really trying to keep it out, they can't. Even state-of-the-art biosecurity facilities with shower in, shower out protocols are still experiencing outbreaks. And so they want all these researchers to figure this out. They're a lot of these particular things they're talking about in this article. They're looking for vaccines, and we'll see how that goes over with the the nuts in charge. Like, we're not allowed to have vaccines, but apparently we're putting a lot of money into coming up with vaccines for poultry. There are other diseases as well. Avian metapneumovirus has emerged as an even greater challenge throughout the past year. Turkey reovirus is the other one that's really big. And the other problem, aside from disease outbreaks, are food safety needs. But these are really diseases too. They're just diseases that actually carry on and can infect humans. And Campylobacter, Salmonella, of course, Salmonella is huge. They really want vaccines approved for that, which are used in other countries but are not used here. And they need more, quote, face-to-face conversations between industry and researchers. We know our producers. Why don't they do this fucking research themselves? Why don't they spend their own? Well, I know they do donate money to these places, but I bet they really get a huge bonus. And like, they could figure this out. They have money. We know our producers and industry challenges. You know the research. Why don't they know the research? It's their business. We need to bridge that gap. You need to go out of business. That's what you need to do. All right, from our friends at Sentient Media, this is a sordid little tale. Iowa officials quietly fast-tracked legal settlement with major meat packer environmental group alleges. And this has to do with this lawsuit that's being brought by driftless water defenders. And it alleges that the Iowa Department of Natural Resources and a meat packing company, which was Agristar Meat and Poultry, coordinated behind the scenes to keep details of a sweetheart deal settlement from the public. This had to do with water contamination. So the settlement included agreement by the company to pay a $50,000 fine, and this was in settlement of 60 water pollution violations. The amount is equivalent to 1 day of intentional Clean Water Act violations. And what they did was not only they entered into this settlement negotiation with this company that had been polluting the water, but they tried to make it secret. That, according to the documents filed in this lawsuit, they reveal a concerted effort to rush the consent decree's approval through the Iowa court system before the group and the public could learn of it and exercise their legal right under Iowa law to file a motion to intervene. And Driftless Water Defenders said it would have definitely intervened. They've been involved in this issue in the past, but they just settled it. And the groups like Driftless Water Defenders and others were calling for penalties in the tens of millions of dollars. So they settled it out for $50,000. And apparently on July 18th, Iowa Assistant Attorney General David Stewart wrote to Agristar Counsel that he planned to file the consent decree late in the day. And I think somewhere else it said that was a Friday. late in the day on Friday as, quote, news organizations monitor filings and may publish something before the consent decree is entered by the court, unquote. Nice. Nice. Well, at least they found out. Award-winning documentary on India's dairy industry removed by YouTube. This is another sordid little story. They're all sordid little stories. This is from Plant-Based News. And this is this documentary, which apparently is very successful. It's gotten 3.7 million views, more than 3.7 million views. It's called, I probably mispronouncing it, I apologize, Ma Ka Doodh, but it translates to mother's milk. And it is about how the, India always like there's always this kind of like illusion, at least here in the US. I don't know whether it's true in India as well, that the cows just sort of like they get older, then they kind of wander around and everybody feeds them and it's all very happy. That's not the Indian dairy industry. It involves enormous amount of slaughter. So this film was written, produced, and directed by Harsha Atmakuri, who is a doctor turned animal rights activist. And what happened is that he made this movie examining the various ethical, environmental, religious, economic, social, and political consequences of increased dairy consumption in India, and the link between dairy consumption and beef exports. And I never understand exactly how this all works because they call them buffalo, but they seem to be the same species. I don't know. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm not more aware, but I should watch this movie, shouldn't I? I'm not sure if it's available in English. Another thing I don't know, I'm sorry. So, according to the filmmakers, animal rights activists in India recently launched a campaign. This has nothing to do with the movie, called Milk is Not Vegetarian. And this prompted backlash and police investigation because, you want to get the police involved if you're saying milk is not vegetarian. And so they used this film. Their posters featured the film and offered a QR code. And then right after that, YouTube deleted the film and the entire channel, citing the company's policies on spam, deceptive practices, and scams. This has since been rectified. I don't want you to think this is going on. But they had to fight to get it back up. And like YouTube just believed some that this extremely popular film was fake, I guess. So we have to do it, and then we have to fight to get it done again and again and again. That's how this goes. I shouldn't say they. It's not like I'm exactly going out there making movies. Marketing cull dairy cattle. How to integrate welfare and economics into decision making. This is from Dairy Herd Management. And you can tell it's a cheerful article because it uses the word cull, which is one of the words they like to use for kill. But you'll see there's another way they're they're euphemizing the idea that they kill their cows at a point. And they're talking about how dairy farmers can choose which of the cows to get rid of. The nuances of each operation should be discussed when deciding to remove an animal from the herd. All right, cull, remove from the herd. And they have to, it goes, I'm not going to go through all of the things they're supposed to look at. Who you don't care. And it does say that there's a handbook that's provided by National Milk Producers Federation. I think that's who provides it. And they provide practical steps to help farmers and veterinarians make the right decision on the complex question, now wait for it, of, quote, when is the right time for a dairy cow to change careers? This is from Megan Hain, who's a veterinary officer for National Milk Producers Federation. Apparently, getting your throat slit is a change in career. I'm not going to say anymore. All right. This is so shocking that they decided to do this, but sad that they then gave up. But it's so shocking that they decided to do it. I'm talking about Burger King Austria. This is from Plant-Based News as well. Burger King Austria actually decided to offer only oat milk for their coffee. I mean, coffee is not a huge, I guess for some other things too, but I think it's mostly for their coffee. They would swap dairy for oat milk nationwide. Wow. Of course, it didn't last long. As I said, we have to do things, then we have to do them again, and then we have to do them again. And we have to do them again. Um, and they took the announcement. They had an announcement that they were doing this. That's no longer available online because apparently it gave all the good reasons for why you should do that. Now they're not going to do it. And according to them, they adapted their pledge to remove dairy from the menu following customer feedback, but highlighted an otherwise positive response. Like they must have anticipated that some customers were going to give them feedback about this. Like I know that. Presumably Burger King Austria knows that. Some people are going to complain. They must have incorporated that into their plan. So I think something else happened. There was industry pushback, there was government pushback, whatever. Somebody made a phone call. Um, in their updated release, they said the response had been overwhelmingly positive, but that some customers had said they would prefer to keep drinking dairy. Like, who would have guessed? Who would have guessed? And that's it for this week's Rising Anxieties. Don't forget to tune into our other podcasts, The Hen Report and the Our Hen House interview. And before you go, let me just remind you of our fundraising campaign, which is going on now through the end of the year. And we have this amazing situation. It's only going to be good for one more year. But anything you donate will be tripled. So if you donate like $1, we get $3. Hopefully more than that. From these major donors, and it's been so generous. It's our last year of having this, so we really want to take advantage of it. So if you are able, and I know the times are tough, I've heard of some bad situations recently of people losing jobs. So obviously, if things are like that, don't even think about it. Just continue to enjoy listening to our Hen House. But if you are able to, you can join our flock, which is $10 a month or $100 a year. You can give any amount, and it would be so appreciated. And you do that by visiting ourhenhouse.org/support. Thanks so much.